That said, we'll see if they can keep the streak alive. It would be the 23rd win if they can win here. Gwen already banned away. Safe AP topside blind pick, and certainly impact comfort pick at this point in the tournament. Maybe the draft is going to be crazier this time around. Maybe G2 has something special cooked up, or maybe EG are going to be the team with a special pick this time around.
And you do get to be a little bit more flexible, of course, on blue side with your bans because you have that first pick. So it usually kind of leads to red side here, EG banning out the Ahri. Maybe they followed up with the LeBlanc for the double mid lane super common bans. Lucian already off the board. It's interesting that they went with the Viego ban from G2 because it makes EG decide, do we want to ban LeBlanc or Wukong? So you only get to ban one of them here, and G2 gets the other one, presumably, in their first pick on blue side. So who do you fear most? I fear, as a player, Caps and LeBlanc quite highly, but he also has a very deep champion pool. So maybe you ban the Wukong anyway. They leave both of them up to try and get one back as a trade, going for the Kalista instead.
And I think the big thing is that the Wukong, to me, because he's in a jungle, feels like a difficult champion to answer, whereas we've seen across the world, there are tons of LeBlanc answers. Obviously, a great LeBlanc will outplay a lot of those answers, whether it's Lissandra or Karma or whatever, but Wukong does feel like a difficult pick to deal with. I like that EG left open two powerful picks. Jojo LeBlanc, though, I'm not sure. It would, if Caps goes to Lissandra, I think you're feeling pretty happy. It limits his carry impact heavily, even if it can still be a playmaker. That said, Wukong, easy first lock-in. Ezreal would feel like the safe pick. Would love to see that instead of the Jhin. I understand why people are picking Jhin. I understand the Umbral utility, but Ezreal feels so powerful and it's still so safe.
Yeah, coming into this stage, that was one of my big goals looking forward, was to have the rising priority on Ezreal kind of actually show up on stage, and it really has here for a Rumble stage. I feel like this champion has really good power spikes for the current stage of the game, with everyone doing the Trinity Force now into Muramana. As soon as you get that Muramana and the constant ultimates coming out, vision checking, stopping objectives, stopping recalls. These players, first place teams of all the regions across the world, have been so good at utilizing the map presence of this champion as well.
Yeah, and I think we've also just seen the importance of having AD carries who can be self-reliant, who do not need a ton of peel in team fights when so many of the compositions are about diving enemy backline. Having an AD carry that's going to be relatively safe, always a good answer. Now, Kai'Sa, traditionally solid answer to the Ezreal, can follow an EOA with her ultimate, can get on top of him, and obviously in raw DPS, she can burst him down before he really has a chance to throw out one or two Qs if she can get a lead in this matchup.
And specifically for Flakked. I mean, Flakked coming in as one of the younger players on this team, one of the new additions, his Kai'Sa was amazing previously, so I'm very happy to see him back on the Kai'Sa, especially when you already have some teamfight dive like Wukong. And G2 do end up getting both Wukong and LeBlanc, so I'm incredibly scared right now, Daniel.
I'm gonna... Your delivery versus the words you're saying, it makes me so happy.
I'm gonna turn to you and ask you to hold me, probably.
Okay. I think that's, I think that would be fair.
We are also not even seeing the counter, from mid lane here picked up in the first three, so I expect G2 to probably ban out, whatever they're most scared of the Vex. Has been the primary, counter into LeBlanc, but of course, you mentioned the others like Lissandra, Malzahar. These are other options.
Yep.
They are not incredibly exciting options, but they're there nonetheless.
And I think it's nice that they have the Lee Sin, at least on the side of EG, so you can expect to have the more powerful early jungler. So if they do get a champion that can win out in the early matchup versus LeBlanc, you'll have the stronger mid-jungle duo. That said, in terms of raw power on paper and isolation, LeBlanc, Wukong, very, very strong. Now, don't get me wrong, Leona Ezreal, solid lane. Lee Sin, solid, strong jungler. But when you look at the quote-unquote meta tier list, G2 just feel like they're a little bit ahead when it comes to this draft. And certainly, some of these support bans are going to maybe set up EG's bot lane for more success. But it also means that Caps gets free liberty to ban away any potential LeBlanc counter picks.
And I think these support bans are really, really smart, even though they've already locked in the Leona, which has pretty good lockdown versus the Rakan. Targamas has been so good at getting picks and initiating for G2, even in the games where he makes mistakes in lane. I love it when you see these players that can shrug off mistakes they make early in the game and then still come up huge later. So double bamming him here, getting the Pyke away so the Pyke roams don't come through from mid lane as well is pretty important. Because again, the mid lane is the biggest question mark to me right now. And you don't want support roams with a LeBlanc to be able to impact your mid lane if you've got a counter coming up. And Seraphine, definitely an option, but they're going through the entire roster here. It looks like I was hoping this was a master plan, Dracos, and it was going to be like, yeah, we got
to
this.
be fair, I would be concerned about the Seraphine master plan. It's like, where's your like hyper carry?
But at least it would be something new and exciting.
True.
If it's the current hover, the Rise, that is neither new nor exciting to me. It does give you possibilities of trying to roam and play side lanes, but I was hoping there was a bigger build-up with letting the Wukong LeBlanc combination go over.
You were hoping for some spice in this draft, and I feel like, I mean, it's spicy compared to maybe what we saw in playoffs for both of these teams. Is there a decent amount of new champions like the Wukong jungle? But for MSI, this is pretty stock standard. Of course, they banned away the GP. That makes it very easy for Broken Blade to pick up the Ornn. Super huge comfort pick for him in the playoffs run, and now they just need to figure out the last champion, what they want for support.
I will say that Impact was the only North American top laner that dealt with our Ornn meta successfully, and this is one of the champions he did it on. Mordekaiser has also gotten buffed since LCS playoffs, where he played the Mordekaiser and stomped the Ornn. So Impact on Mordekaiser is that spice, is that hope that I was looking for in the draft from G2 or from EG. So this is the one counter, the real strong counter that they did get is the Mordekaiser. Very good into Ornn in lane, plus also later on into the game, removing one champion from the team fight can be very pivotal in taking out, kind of the crux of one of these, hard CC champs or something, and trying to create some space for your team that way. I will say this looks like a pretty good and comfortable setup for G2, though.
Absolutely.
And especially with the previous game record, I think they probably are, for sure, heavy favorites, even probably more so after draft going into this game.
I'm inclined to agree with you at this stage. I'm curious to see how the Mordekaiser is going to work out. I like a lot of those buffs. Most of them aren't going to rear their head till about level 6.
It's the move speed one that's most exciting to me.
Yeah, that matters, and it does matter a lot. The problem is level 1 the same, level 5 the same. Level 6 is when you get double the move speed that you used to get, 6% as opposed to 3%. It is a significant increase for a AP Darius, basically, that is Mordekaiser. It matters. It does. But the early game often very deciding in these matchups. We'll see maybe EG can get that edge. They've got the Lee Sin. They've got a powerhouse early jungler. Yes, Wukong can be impactful early. Yes, he has creative pathing options, but Lee Sin is the quintessential early game. Show up in your lane. There's good setup CC. Maybe they can get something done.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna remain optimistic here. Also, one of the big things though, whenever you're facing LeBlanc, and you're giving over this very powerful mid lane champion, especially someone like Caps, you usually really want some point-and-click CC on your team for later. Otherwise, LeBlanc does get to actually scale into this really aggressive poke champion going in with the distortion combos. And if you don't have an instant point-and-click CC to deal with her and punish her for going for that, then later on it still becomes a problem, because not only can she wait in Fog of War and go for the assassination attempts, but can also kind of poke you down towards objectives. So we will see if they're quick enough to try and deal with that later on as well. For the meantime here, see what they can do as far as level 1 vision.
Caps moving in, laying down just a little bit of control. Obviously spotting inspired or not spotting inspired. Once you have that ward down, you do gain at least a little bit of information. Very defensive vision plays from the side of EG. Not really going too deep into the enemy jungle, just going to spot out any potential early pathing or early invades. I'm wondering how spicy bot lane's going to be honest with you. We've seen a lot of early level 1, level 2 kills. Danny and Vulcan, have been they get a little over aggro, I think, sometimes in lane. And I think Targamas and Flacket, it was a similar story against T1. Well, G2 did ultimately win that early laning phase. Very explosive in a way that was not very G2 favored.
Yeah, and as well, it's going to be heavily influenced by what does happen around the mid lane and mid prowl for either of these champions roaming around. LeBlanc, of course, if LeBlanc gets an early lead, gets to have a huge effect on it, but Rise as well. For Jojo has played a ton of Rise this season and roamed excessively to both sides. And EG, with this setup, if we compare the team comps, of course, they want to try and play sidelines. They want to try and spread the map. They've got Mordekaiser, one of the best at split pushing, because you can just ult someone when they come to gank you, try and get your at least one for one, and then sometimes you can even pull out 1-for-2 opportunities if you win the Death Realm and have enough health left, and Rise, of course, on the other side. Meanwhile, G2 kind of become classic for them. It's turning into the team fight. But here's the first LeBlanc Wukong combination.
Cat sweeping forward. Chain set up, locking down JoJo. Lockdown under tower, not flashing yet. Walking away with his life. Maybe forced to burn the TP here as the wave is pushing away from him.
Yeah, pretty efficient gank there from Jankos. Doesn't waste very much time, so it's always really nice to go for early ganks towards LeBlanc lane, even if you just get the health lead, because it helps out with managing the minion waves. And Caps has it in his lane pushing towards him, so denying minions to JoJo, as JoJo had to go back, refill his potion, get some health back here, and get his early teleport on cooldown.
Has Spellbook, so we'll still be able to have some combat effectiveness shortly here, but it's going up against the electrocuted Cap, so we'll see who comes out in these trades. For now, Cap's going to be pretty content to sit under that tower, farm up the wave that has been pushed into him. JoJo has to find something to do, basically. He's going to lose it, not really have a lot of effective time here at that inconvenient back time.
Wards around mid lane going to be pretty big as well. We mentioned before, support roams up towards mid, so you always look at this this highway between mid and bottom lane, that river, to be used very heavily. And so you see both teams focusing pretty early on, getting wards through that river, so they can try and protect their respective mid laners. Still holding on to both flashes, though, as you said, after the early gank was only dealt damage.
Yeah, and it's good that you highlight that pathway, because so many of the early games between these two teams were decided by roams from Targamas into the mid lane. 3 people going in, collapsing on JoJo Pune. That said, Impact continuing to push forward, already building up a CS lead, sort of as expected here early on. Mordekaiser obviously very oppressive in the 1v1. Broken Blade blind picking the top laner that he just feels comfortable with to survive here. One item really where it's going to get a little bit more difficult for Broken Blade. But for now, can just weather the storm. 2 pushing lanes currently in favor of EG. See where Inspired wants to put his attention. Not really a great place for him to gank at this exact moment. That said, Impact, I think, has been the strong point, really, for EG across this tournament so far. He and Inspired both feel like the rocks for the team. But that might be in jeopardy now as Jankos goes in. The pull back, instant kill coming out there. First blood, little overconfident on the top side. Lost track of Jankos, did not expect the gank.
I mean, that was just really well played by G2. I mean, that gank right there, the timing on the wave, position right in front of tower for Broken Blade, and the flash coming out from Jankos. As soon as you get that long range Q auto in the air, it's going to land. And so they catch Impact with that damage as he flashes also. Now the Mordekaiser with no flash, immediately going to teleport back to lane to try and shove that lane back into tower. I think that was just incredibly intelligent gank timing from Jankos. Just out of Fog of War, W up invisible, then flash forward just for the burst damage. Perfect timing for them. And trading jungle flash for top lane flash up there too, right before Mordekaiser hits level 6. Before you have that opportunity to be able to get yourself out of ganks kind of free by just ulting the jungler and 1v1ing them.
Have a 1v1.
That window was getting very small for G2, and they snuck a gank in right before he gets to level 6, right before he pushes the minion wave in. And that was just perfect timing from them.
And again, credit to Jankos. He was a monster in the games yesterday, especially in the Diana game. And I think that he's been playing super well so far in the early game. 2 successful ganks, one in the form of a kill, one in the form of a burned flash. Staying even in jungle CS with Inspired, waiting, wanting to see more from the Lee Sin. Obviously, level 6, playmaking gets a lot easier for the Lee Sin, but the same is definitely true for the Wukong. Even easier for the Wukong. He doesn't have to line up a good kick or a good angle. He just pushes R and he goes at you really fast. And there's not a lot of counterplay to that one when the Wukong is ahead.
Wukong is very good at team fighting with the ultimates. As well, pretty good with all of the other champions with being able to stack up armor. So bottom side skirmishes, pretty effective for him. It's double AP solo laners for G2, or for EG, so not going to have extra effectiveness there. But again, as soon as Mordekaiser hits the level 6, all of a sudden, ganks up towards the top side, way less effective. A lot harder to pull off because he can just turn them into, basically making time for the rest of the team by ulting one of them. So nicely done. I don't think we'll see a lot of extra time now from him spent up there.
Yep. It was a peripheral issue from JoJo, but it looks like it's been resolved as we have now gone back into game. Something to track is if the gold stays pretty close, as it has in this case, only about a 500, 600 gold lead for G2. Bit of a fight going out here, though. Impact. Good damage in the sustained fight. Conqueror procced, passive procced. Broken Blade hitting level 6 first, though, is going to be big. That's the knockup right back into the Ram Horn. Good shield comes in from Impact. Extended trades, again, usually favoring Mordekaiser here. Broken Blade taking his level advantage, though, and trying to get something a little bit more out of it. Impact, how close is he to 6? That's going to be the big question here.
Exactly. You know, they're brawling next to the minion wave that's dying. Bottom side, they do get Dragon for G2, but Impact focusing on minion wave here, trying to get to his level 6. Broken Blade knows, though, he's not too scared because he's got flash advantage from the gank. And the only thing you really are scared of when you're fighting Mordekaiser is those Qs. The isolated Q landing on you is the thing that you want to flash. So even if you get ulted, you actually aren't as scared. Like, as long as you flash the isolated Q inside the Mordekaiser ult, he would be able to fight his way out of that one. So that's why he wasn't too scared there. Flash advantage really means a lot when you're going for those duels with the Mord.
I mean, it's a super good point because, yes, in the long duel with Conqueror, with the passive, Mordekaiser will kill you, but without the isolated Qs, it's going to take a year. The Death Realm's going to expire before he actually does anything meaningful in terms of damage. Broken Blade, though, maybe just going for a cancel on the base here. Caps on the way up. Knockup already connecting. Fullback is there. Impact in the area. Inspired, rather, in the area. Is Impact pulling Broken Blade in the Death Realm. Really his only option. Flash back over the wall. Impact trapped in his own Death Realm. Oh, it's not where you want to be. Here comes the monkey. Ooh,
and that, again, that's how I set it up. That is all off of the first gank from Jankos. That's why that gank deserves so much credit from him, getting it in before the level 6, burning the flash of Mordekaiser. Then you're not scared of Mordekaiser at all. Broken Blade knows he can go stop his back. He can bait him into staying around there. They get the ult out, and then everyone else just left around as soon as he exits the Death Realm. Just flashing over the wall there. Really, really nicely calculated here from G2. They're basically taking all of your options into account, and then one-upping you. So nice roam as well. You could tell Inspired was kind of hanging around, but they didn't really want to have to fight this. Again, Broken Blade knows he's got the trump card. He's got the flash. Nothing really spectacular actually happening. I guess we can look at the mini-map now, because I already saw this whole thing live. I'm taking a look. What do we miss on the mini-map? Oh, it looks like JoJo pushed the mid wave up.
No matter, like, we got a LeBlanc in the game, we got a Rise, Lee Sin as Wukong. You can watch so many different crazy fights, but Mordekaiser Ornn will just never be one of them.
Well, especially that one, which we got the full thing the first time around, and so you know exactly each step that's going to happen. Here we go, though.
Kick goes in. Oh, that's going to be the steal. That's big. Can he pick up the eye as well? He's getting locked down. Someone's going to grab it for sure. Vulcan now going into the midst of the entire team. Inspired already taken down. Impact decently strong, but could get burned out very quickly. Shield might not be enough. Caps going invisible, but it looks like he picked the right one. One more obliterate. Does he have it? He does not. Caps on the edge, but he takes down Impact. JoJo running for the hills. Targamas.
Oh my goodness. Caps there just on outside of the Mordekaiser passive, waiting, doesn't get burned down. The extra kills here over to G2. In the end, Vulcan was able to go pick up the eyeball after Inspired went in and got the smite on the Rift Herald. So they acquired the Rift Herald, but at a pretty hefty cost for them. As far as both the gold given over for the kills, but also the map presence after. You can see before we went into this replay, Broken Blade went up and pushed the top lane into tower as well. So there will be missed minions in addition to these extra kills that we see picked up. And man, that chain proccing kept the Mordekaiser just at a distance. Caps does not go down, and G2 clean up the rest of the fight. Plus, again, Broken Blade was able to push in. He got the reset off now as well for the Ornn. Caps, the LeBlanc getting those kills again is huge for G2's game plan. There's not a great point-and-click answer to this LeBlanc. It's kind of hard for a Rise combo to get off on him and root him in place quick enough if the LeBlanc is fast, and Caps is definitely fast. So looks like they will be building towards their big team fights. You know, the Dragon picked up pretty early as well for them. Only 1 minute left on Dragon number 2. So G2 probably going to try and continue stacking those so they can bring, you know, the Wukong, the Ornn to those big fights.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a situation where EG, if they're a little bit more ahead in this early game, play a much more comfortable 1-3-1, can split the team up, and maybe the Mordekaiser fight can work out here. Realm Warp now coming up. Broken Blade going to get some unexpected company when he finally leaves the Realm Warp, or rather Death Realm. But so far, still, he's just running. BB, the Q flash on the edge. The darkness going to finish him off, but Caps See one, Inspired on the way up. If they can take Caps' shutdown here, it'd be big. 150 extra gold would not hurt whatsoever. 1K deficit. All that stands against EG as Cap starts to run. Distortion. Fallback option will fade away, but Cap's more than mobile enough to just walk out of that one.
And he doesn't even lose any minions, Daniel. He goes back around. Okay, the cannon goes down there, but he wraps around for the minion wave as well. G2 not getting anything on the bottom side of the map, though. That's the scarier point there for EG. They left Danny and Vulcan in a 3v2 scenario. Does mean Dragon number 2 that we were setting up gets picked up immediately, so that Dragon stacking for G2 will become an issue, especially because they do have so much CC for their teamfight setup. Broken Blade this time around doesn't have a flash. Also has the arrival of a Rise Realm Warp. Love it. Even in the Death Realm, getting a little taunts off there as he tries to walk away. He gets multiple flashes and ults on him. In the end, though, they do get that killed. I wonder, I didn't quite see if they got any turret plates on top side. Looks like they did not. Caps cleared out the entire minion wave, so no damage done there either.
Difficult situation, too. Obviously, first Herald, you would love to use it to break an entire tower. It's just going to be the 2-plate Herald. Not going to amount to too much there, but shout out to the Mordekaiser buffs. Just barely able to run Broken Blade down, courtesy of 3% extra movement speed.
Let's go. All right, Ludens is the first mythic, and it's on the LeBlanc. Who's Caps going for, Daniel? Because
the problem is, Danny and Vulcan have done no wrong, but they will pay for the sins of their teammates, because that 2-0 LeBlanc is going to become their problem very quickly. Yes, Danny is mobile. He's got a little extra health with the Kindle Gem. The exhaust is the only thing stopping him from being #1 on the hit list, I think.
Yeah, I will also say, as a jungler, you're also always worried about, early LeBlanc mythics and power spikes. Now, he's pretty close to getting level 11 as well. Rank 2 in the ultimate for LeBlanc, plus your Ludens, is so much burst damage. So Inspired also has to be very wary of that LeBlanc. Here he is, camping, just waiting to use it.
Oh, and for EG, it's so hard. JoJo playing with the right amount of respect, the right amount of caution. Not sure if they saw G2 moving in or if it was just Jankos that they saw, but ultimately, if he had walked into that bush, it might have been very difficult. Caps, though, unafraid. It looks like he is going to try to connect the first chain. The kickback, they're going to burst it down instantly. Well played by Inspired, firing back. Caps a little overconfident playing with fire, and he does get burned.
All right, let's see what they can do with it here. Inspired going for the invade on bottom side. Of course, they've got Impact soloing on top side. Bottom isn't going to get much in the way of summoner spells, and it will be at least Raptor Camp.
Goes on the retreat. Single Raptor Camp cleanse on the bottom side, as you highlighted previously. Targamas now locked up. A lot of chain CC. Realm Warp coming in. JoJo looking to make his presence known on the bottom side. Nautilus going to hook out to safety. TP now coming in to dissuade the dive. Targamas blinking health bar. Jankos 1v1 versus Inspired. Lee Sin surely has to win this one. But the second out stack, the clone to block the Q is massive. Jankos now feeling confident. He's flashing back in. He knows he can win this one. But the heal coming in from JoJo. Summoner Spellbook saving the day. Jankos trying to get this out. Caps on the way back in. Can he pick up the rest of the kills? They're moving away. They're body blocking. He cannot connect to chain. Caps getting absolutely outplayed. EG, the team play, phenomenal in that skirmish.
The Gore Drinker from Inspired and the body block from JoJo. They combined to keep the Evil Geniuses jungler alive, and this game just came alive, okay? G2 have double dragon stacking. They also have a decently scaling team fight waiting for them, but EG just got a bunch of money. JoJo now at the top of the ladder there. That finishes up the Everfrost. He's got stopwatch available for consecutive plays as well.
And while Caps may be a little over-aggressive, Jankos may be a little over-aggressive in that instance. They may look to temper that aggression. That said, the Rise, it wasn't special, it wasn't fancy, it wasn't a crazy pick out of nowhere, but it's a pick you highlighted, a pick where JoJo feels comfortable roaming. He's been top, he's been bot, he's been across the map in these plays. It was his heal that helped keep Inspired alive. And I gotta say, JoJo's impact on this game, despite being against what was moments ago a 2-0 LeBlanc, has been good to watch.
Yeah, Inspired over here, starts it out on Jankos, knowing that his team just won a trade on bottom side and is first up the river, has an escape, so he knows that he can just kite down into the river, and Jankos follows him. JoJo there had the Summoner Spellbook heal into Flash to finish it off, and with the Triumph, plus watch this Gore Drinker. It's being blocked there by JoJo, so no extra damage comes through. The exhaust goes down. As soon as Danny gets up there, Inspired got the Gore Drinker off at the perfect time, and the money going over to this Ezreal is quite big. Trinity Force done for Danny now. just slowly plugging away on that bottom side, stacking up the tier pretty quickly for his Muramana as well. So Evil Geniuses now, their hopes for that dream of the split are alive. Because again, their champions really excel in 1-3-1. JoJo, most played champion of Spring was Ryze. So like you stated, it's not new, it's not exciting, but it is definitely comfort for them. And if they can get a Mordekaiser Ryze split push game going for themselves and try and pull G2 away from this dragon stacking, then that would definitely be, they're out in this game. G2 though, 16 seconds left on this dragon. I wonder after that last fight if they can actually keep up the pace.
It is going to be a little bit difficult. Would definitely like to have level 11 for Jankos and Broken Blade. Broken Blade just going to take over, but difficult for him to come in. He's going to TP down here. Impact has a TP of his own if he wants to come to this fight. Team fights are where Broken Blade has to make his impact. He's going to slowly but surely lose the 1v1 as Cap starts to poke.
Also, if Impact comes, remember, Mordekaiser can ult a jungler so they can't smite. If they really wanted to make sure they could get it, he would have to get in there and ult Jankos.
Lee Sin Q, hard to steal away from that. Target's now locked up. Jankos making his way out of the pit, but he's been locked down. It doesn't look like he's going to get a second ult charge off. Just barely managed to do it. Inspired, kicking Caps out of the pit. Dragon still standing. EG pushing forward. Impact managed to take down one. EG, this is their fight. Flacken running for his life. He doesn't have any mana. He's going to try to Hexgate out. Inspired, barely. Pushing for more. Inspired's hungry for it. The flash over the wall. Inspired, no ward to hop to at this stage. EG getting a dragon. G2 still backing away. Caps waiting over the wall. Big damage. Instantly going to delete his support. It's like Season 3 all over, baby. Impact, though, firing back. That is one beefy Mordekaiser. Broken Blade forced to flash out to safety. Inspired on the backside. Flacken. Red buff, but no mana. The exhaust now comes in. Danny leaping back in. It's Madness with the shield just barely keeping alive. Danny manages to survive. He's blinking. Lee Sin, what a hero.
Inspired with the safe guard. Keeps his AD carry alive for now, but they're not done yet. Hex gates are so fun to watch. We've had a ring around the rosy over this dragon pit for a good 5 minutes. My goodness, the Hex gate chases. Whew. All right, it's not done. It's not done. They're still chasing him.
Never stops. Jankos going in.
The fun never stops. EU versus NA. You may see the result 4 times in a row, but number 5 can still be exciting.
And that's why we play the best of 9.
That's why we play the best of 9. That's what I like to hear. All right, back to the split push there, though. Ryze, JoJo does get the top tower. The outer tower going down, all in accordance with that split plan there for EG. So they do have some more room to work with. They also critically put a stop to that dragon stacking. Impact did not actually go for the ult on Jankos. He ulted Targamas instead because Jankos had already been chunked out of the fight, and Jankos could not get back in for a dragon smite anyway. So I like that option because he removes one of the big CC openings for G2 for that team fight. It's one of the big reasons why EG were able to chase them down. They get a big early lead on that frontline health, and removing that CC and that ultimate were such a huge deal. Impact deserves so much credit here. So let's take a look. Again, with the dragon damage on Jankos, look, he's 50% already. He gets chased out of the pit. No W. Vulcan is on him. So Impact says, great, Jankos is going to die. I ult Targamas. And then there's only 3 other members of G2 here that they have to deal with. The flash forward, Danny jumps into the rest of the team, and then Inspired and Flacken with their Hex Gate chase up on the top side does end up getting another flash. This is where G2 get one back, though, because EG split up too early. This often happens when you win one of these team fights and you have the numbers advantage, but you give up your numbers advantage by splitting to take too much at the same time. Inspired had gone top, Danny was pushing the minion wave, and they lose out Vulcan there. Then all in on Flacken, they go with the exhaust, Danny barely living, and it's the safeguard after safeguard from Inspired, keeping him alive, even with the corrupting potion, burning him down. So close, and yet they keep him upright.
And in a world where there's a fed LeBlanc and a reasonably fed Riot, I did not expect to see top laners topping out the damage chart, but there it is. Broken Blade and Impact certainly letting their presence be known, and that fight is
Baron saves Shelly.
Despawns. Sucks for G2. Of course, EG building a gold lead. They're behind the Dragons, but they're leading in turrets. Decent gold lead for themselves, about 1.5K now as we crest the 20-minute mark. Baron on the table, but neither team, I think, strong enough yet to try to force it. And Kobe. Optimism. It's coming. I
I mean, it's just more fun to watch, you know, when they're so competitive like this.
Yes.
And also when they're trying to play it different ways. You know you've got this big Impact Mordekaiser looming over your head as G2. And Impact has been outstanding for EG during this tournament, even during LCS playoffs, one of the biggest you know, components contributing to their victories. And now this level 12 Mordekaiser, split pushing menace for them. They've got the top outer tower done, mid outer tower is already done, and bottom is soon to fall. So once they get this outer ring done, they have got so much more room to work with and try and pressure down this G2 team. Plus, Danny being on Ezreal, the more mobile AD carry, gives him a lot more survivability versus something like LeBlanc. So we'll see if he can keep his distance.
Yeah, and similarly, the Maw coming in for Inspired, big deal. Now that he has that, he can't ignore the LeBlanc. She has just completed a Void Stab. She's still powerful. She's still going to be frustrating to deal with, but is no longer the fear of just randomly getting one shot in the jungle as it was earlier in the game when Caps was pretty far ahead of the rest of the opposition. And now we do see JoJo, the classic, despite the nerfs, still opting for the tankier Rise build, 303, getting closer and closer to the Fimble Winter. And it looks like probably Frozen Heart going to come out as well. So is going to mitigate a lot of what Flacket and Jankos want to do in these fights critically.
They also brought Impact down towards this dragon as it was spawning. So I think even the time that it takes him to walk back up towards top side is going to be enough for G2 to take the top turret. So this dragon will be traded in for this gold of the top tower for G2. Because the dragon stacking was already broken, the streak there is already broken on number 3, G2 suddenly drop huge priority on Dragon. They no longer have this early timeline leading up to the Soul and would rather get the money split pushing on these towers here. So EG do get Dragon number 2, yet Outer Tower and 50% of number 2 go down.
And I love this too. Confidence from Impact to step forward there. Again, one of the unique strengths of the Mordekaiser. Another champion maybe gets dived in that 2v1. Maybe he has a hard time. Mordekaiser, point and clicks, he wants his 1v1, he shouts it out. It's not even a 1v1 because the turret still helps.
It is a true 1v9 champion because you do not need, nor do, in some cases, you don't even want your team right near you. So definitely does quite well on its own. Also can have big impact in the team fights though. Yeah. As we've stated, especially if you are able to ultimate the correct champion. You know, Vulcan here though.
In no man's land, thought he was safe, thought they had recalled, thought they were gone, but G2 waiting in the darkness, find their pick, and suddenly pressure is on the top side of the map. You got the rest of the team moving to respond, pushing in the mid lane as well. EG need to be quick on the response.
There's that LeBlanc burst damage we all know and love on supports especially. As Jankos also used the ultimate there for Wukong, doesn't mean they won't have the cooldown if there is a chase down fight in the jungle leading up towards Baron, but not going to be the case as G2 are happy to take their kill golds and just retreat afterwards.
Yeah, don't want to overextend there, don't want to overcommit. Ezreal just going out, maybe hoping to cancel it back, get a little bit more information as the TP is going to go down to the bottom side. Important to note, QSS does come in from Targamas, so that easy option to mitigate a lot of the upfront CC that G2 can bring to the table when Impact ults him. Not as viable, no longer on the table, and it's a similar story as Flacket has delayed a third item to pick up a QSS of his own as well.
Yeah, some pretty important items. You know, the stopwatches and Zhonya's also very important. EG with a Zhonya's done on Impact. So the team fight possibilities we talk about for the Mordekaiser are so big. You know, with the added survivability of Ultimate, plus then you have Zhonya's as well. Like, Impact can just completely chat it up, run straight into the team, grab the Ultimate, take someone down, go for his Zhonya's, buy so much time. He wants to be the point man for this fight. He actually doesn't even want Vulcan to be the first one in there because we saw how quickly Vulcan will blow up. Impact is going to take quite a significantly... Yeah.
I dare you. Come in. I will push R on you so fast.
Please start using your spells on me so I can save my teammates.
I just like the flexibility of the word Chad. Yeah. It's a noun. It's an adjective. Exactly. It's whatever you want it to be.
Truly, truly, truly. Okay, well, let's see about this 1-3-1 that we've been talking up so heavily because this is the point in the game where you start to see the team comps really play as they've been drafted. So we've got the Mordekaiser bottom side, completing the recall here for JoJo on top side, though. Let's see, what does he actually complete off of that base? Didn't look like too much. You already mentioned the kind of weakened tank Rise build because the mana scaling was hit a little bit. The AP scaling was buffed, and there's not a lot of AP in this build. But again, it is comfort for EG, for JoJo. So we shall see how they can execute now.
Yeah, and well, with two very high AD threats on the opposite side, Frozen Heart's just always going to feel pretty good here. Yeah. See how JoJo fares on the side lane, though, if he is matched against someone like Caps. that said, I think just generally it's really interesting to track this game because for EG, obviously, again, 4-0, embarrassing record, not where you want to be. The fact that they're fighting back now better just reminds people that EG are a team that have been steadily improving. Yes, they kind of punched down on Order and they got punched down on by G2, but they have been getting better.
I would also examine the 4-0 games, and it did feel like EG consecutively, learning and having takeaways from the losses. Yes, it sounds like a meme to you learn more from your losses, but a lot of this MSI has been focused on improvement and on gaining different learnings here from international competition for this team. And it's nice to see it implemented here and the continual improvement of this squad. Again, they have two extremely young players on the team, Danny and Jojo, of course. Yep. Jojo, the youngest player at the entire tournament at 17. So we shall see the power curve of this team, the learning curve.
And the potential as EG move forward and they play, the expectation coming into Rumble stage is that there's going to be a top 3, there's going to be a bottom 3, there's going to be a fight for first, and there's going to be a fight for fourth. And those are the two things that we have to watch. But if EG take a game off G2, can start to look competitive against the other teams, maybe the narrative starts to change. For now, though, it is important to remember how important first seed is, because this does feel like a top 3 tournament. If you are first, you get to pick between third and fourth as your opponent. And if the fourth seed is looking a little bit down, then that's going to be easy pickings for a clean path to finals.
Yeah, I think that's ramifications of just the setup of a tournament that has 3 Pool 1 seeds. Guess what? Four semifinal spots, 3 Pool 1 seeds. The one that's not a Pool 1 seed is going to be the one that matters the most. And so, yes, again, first place in Rumble stage lets you choose that opponent and is a huge benefit. EG, though, going to continue stacking these dragons. 3 Hex dragons in a row, going to lead them up to having Soul Point in 5 minutes for themselves. The Soul Dragon will be arriving. Split push there for G2 as you had Caps up on the top side. Doesn't actually get a lot. Just got to push in some minion waves there. And the LeBlanc, gets to get a little bit more power. However, I really did think that the Caps LeBlanc was going to have a significantly bigger impact in the mid stages of the game. We were getting all hyped as soon as he finishes, his Ludens there. He was 2-0, but immediate counterplay from EG. And I credit Inspired a lot for the counter gank around mid. Him plus Jojo started it off. Those consecutive plays there. So the LEC MVP that was adopted into the EG team has really been critical for them throughout this tournament.
Certainly, and most importantly in this game, in the context of this game, because there's another world where they don't get a couple kills. Maybe G2 play a little bit more conservatively, or maybe there's a 50 health difference, or there's a safeguard that's not quite on cooldown. Suddenly you have a very fed LeBlanc, and this game is just unplayable, but because they were able to interrupt the snowballing from G2, shut that down, EG are now in pretty solid position.
It's one of the reasons why Lee Sin never truly falls all the way out of the meta. Literally every jungler has played Lee Sin, okay? Even if it's one time and you decide, okay, I'm a bad Lee Sin, and then you don't play anymore, everyone's got to try it at least once. And all of the pro junglers will always have it in their back pocket because it's such a versatile champion. And he's really displayed that versatility this game. You mentioned the safeguards. Like, Inspired has not only been a counter gank and an offensive machine, he's also been a healer. It's been Inspired the medic, basically, with the double safeguards keeping Danny alive on the bottom side play. So, definitely displaying all aspects of the champ. But Vulcan again!
Vulcan! Oh, no, Bush is safe. Don't forget the Garen rule. Vulcan now running for his life. Broken play trying to block off the exit. Danny has been knocked up, and immediately it's flagging at the backside. He's exhausted, but he's got the QSS. It's quick on the finger, and that's just it. EG, they were sitting comfy, but G2 take it away in an instant.
Oh my god, G2 just splatter EG across this red buff wall. That was a disgusting AoE combo there. Caps goes in. He's got Death Cap in inventory right now, Dracos. That's what that was. My goodness, Vulcan there gets picked in the river, and EG try to bail him out. They group up, try and defend off this river play, but they group up just in time for that knock up into giant distortion. Oh my gosh, that was nasty. Immediately removing them from the rift. Let's take a look here because, again, stopwatch here to buy time, and they've got a couple control wards here through the river. So with the Rise Realm Warp there, giving some vision, Inspired jumps in, but look at that. Immediately, Caps, Flacket, Broken Blade, all 3 of them just immediately deleting the EG members. And there's no team fight here, Dracos. That was a massacre.
Yeah.
Broken Blade setting it up with the knock-up. Flackid went in, and he actually got exhausted. So since Flackid got exhausted, the newly death-capped LeBlanc got to go in full power and just blow them up.
And this is the thing that's so terrifying about G2, right? And it's what made part of their T1 win so impressive, is that even when they fall down, even when they make mistakes, they lose out early game, mid game, they are so lethal in these fights. They are so good at finding these angles. It's something EG praised them for in the past. We heard from Danny in an interview. He talked about how they're really good at finding these fights and this opportunity. And they found that one, they made it work. And now the game is right back to being so hard for EG.
It's actually insane right now, because with this death cap, it also multiplies your elixir there. He's got an elixir. This is really the key. G2 with Baron buff, with elixir on caps, they can just push this Baron win. That team fight meant everything. This is going to explode in a gold lead for G2 here as they retake in the entire map, basically. Caps right now with a stopwatch on top of all this extra power he just got. It's 7 stacks on the Dark Seal now. The elixir is ticking. So threatening. And this is one of the things that you mentioned early on, was you need point click CC to deal with LeBlanc later if the LeBlanc gets to a powerful state like this. And now it's really hard to shut him down.
It's a similar story for Flackid, who has a QSS and a Cleanse. Of course, Cleanse is on cooldown. He finished Lord Dominic's after that fight. Now he's got an extra BF sword on top of it. He's only going to get more terrifying, and he's going to have a harder time sitting safely in that backline with the threat of a Kaisa coming in. So EG, they were comfy, and they got punished. They got a little, like Vulcan getting caught out, and a single moment takes it away from them, and now they have to find a way to claw back into this game. But it is going to be hard, as highlighted before. LeBlanc, terrifying champion to deal with, and she is fully that poke champion you talked about. People like to think of LeBlanc as 100-0, but no, she can come over the wall, she can double distortion, she can double Q, whatever. She's going to take half your health, and it's going to be so hard for EG to ever walk into Fog of War.
All right, it's a very dark map here for EG. They would love to be able to get Soul, but it's so difficult when you're going against the LeBlanc with no vision. They did get a ward down on caps. They saw his position now. This Dragon is gone, though.
Just instantly taken away, no chance to respond. Impact maybe thinking he could ult the jungler out, but now that's a perfect lineup coming in for the Ornald. It's not going to hit anybody, though. It goes wide. Impact, what's he going to do? Isolated Broken Blade, now trying to leap back out. G2 grouping is fine. That's going to be the own ultimate, but it's onto the tank. Inspired coming in. They're looking for an angle, but it's Caps over the wall, laying down a little bit of damage onto Inspired. Inspired trying to finish the job. The change just out of range. Death Realm now coming in. Yanko's isolated, taken away. He cannot ult the team of EG. Yanko's getting the second spin off. Impact now going to be in trouble. He goes golden. He tries to buy a brief moment. Jojo Puna Danny caught out, though. Impact flashing out to safety, and instantly Flackid and Caps descend, waiting for the blood in the water, but they will find their prey.
And every G2 member alive to tell the tale. Inspired here, gonna try and defend, but it's one EG member versus the entire G2 team, and they're going straight for the base.
Easy push down mid, and again, these fights, they're so close. There's so many instances where you think maybe
he's going for the minion wave,
can find an edge.
He's going to cut the minion wave, but G2 already have one inside the base. So it doesn't matter. They can usher this cannon wave up, and the Nexus turrets will drop.
And that's it. It was back and forth. G2 ahead in the early game. EG fighting back, finding a lead of their own, finding advantage, and it all getting knocked away from them in an instant as G2 descended upon them, keeping the win streak alive, 23-0. G2 knocking down EG for the 5th time this tournament.
Definitely a fun one there.
Yeah.
Nice back and forth towards the mid game. And yet G2 continue their undefeated streak. It's 23, keep the count going.
And it's one of those things where it's so frustrating to play against a team like G2 because you can't count them out. There are so many teams where you get a lead like that, you play slow, you play steady, you play controlled. They never find a way back in. But then it's randomly Jankos and Caps hiding in a bush for 30 seconds longer than they're supposed to. Or Vulcan overstaying for 1 second and his teammates trying to help him. And those little things, those tiny decisions where against so many other teams you wouldn't get punished, or it wouldn't be a big deal, or maybe it'd be a small loss, turn into catastrophic losses against a team like G2.
Yeah, it's seeing those angles in the little skirmish opportunities. G2's setup, they were just camping on their vision with their control wards, and when Vulcan comes into the river, EG are a bit split up, and so they are then playing reactively to this scenario, and it's much more difficult for them to remain cognizant of their positioning and looking out for these angles of, you know, Broken Blade knocking into the wall, get the big AoE on them, and it's just really well played by G2. Broken Blade's like, I got 3 of them, knocked up, Flackid's in, Caps comes over the top, he just built his death cap, and there goes the game.
terrifying thought. Watch out for those Ornn